Hey everyone, Austin here again with another quick play. Today we're going to be playing some Raiden 3 for the PlayStation 2. I believe this was a 2005 release and a conversion of the arcade game of the same name. This was during a time period where shoot-em-ups were really on a downturn in terms of popularity, and, you know, we didn't really get a ton of shmups released during this era. I mean, in Japan on PlayStation 2, there were quite a few, but there weren't a ton of, like, really standout releases. This is definitely one of the ones that I think people are most familiar with, though, at least, in the western parts of the continent, because Raiden goes all the way back to 1990 or so, and it was a very popular arcade series in the early 90s. It had 3 games, and then it got spun off into the Raiden Fighter series, which in and of itself also had 3 games. And this was the first, at the time, sort of return to form, to a degree, for the Raiden series. The gameplay mechanics in this do feel a lot different from the original games, but it is a numerical third entry into the series. And this one was always jarring for me when it first came out because of its polygonal graphics. You know, I had sort of grown up with Raiden 1 and 2, and then later I played a lot of Raiden DX. And honestly, for 2005, the graphics aren't even all that great. So I always like had a chip on my shoulder regarding this game for such a long time. I imported this like right when it came out. I paid full price. It was like $70 or $80, and yeah, needless to say, it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. It's since grown on me. I've actually put a lot of time into it in the last few years in particular. I still suck at it. I'm absolutely terrible at this game. Because it is actually a very, very challenging game. Raiden is known for sniper bullets, where basically anything that comes on screen will just like target you wherever you are on the screen, and so you're constantly just tapping left or right to try to dodge whatever is sniping you. But that goes like 100-fold in Raiden 3. It's just the gameplay, I would say, does not feel as nuanced as something like, you know, the original Raiden or Raiden 2 or something like that. It is literally, you're being sniped all day long, and it is brutal as a result. Fast bullets. Also, this is a 480i interlaced game, so if you are playing through an upscaler or something like that, it's going to be a little difficult to see the bullets a lot of times. Definitely a game you want to try to play on a CRT if you can. It definitely is easier to see what's going on a CRT, especially if you're playing in Tate, like I am right here. I'm actually, much like my previous shmups videos before Raiden 3 here, as quick plays, I've been, you know, I'm playing this in Tate just like those. And if you got a CRT and you can play in Tate, where you can, you know, you can rotate your screen easily, it is highly recommended to play this game specifically in that manner. Some of the other shooters in the system, maybe not as big of a deal, but this one in particular, like, you really want to play in Tate. I found it to be much, much easier on a CRT in Tate. But of course, not everyone can rotate their CRTs. I certainly can't rotate my 32-inch beast, but I've got, thankfully, a 25-inch and a 23-inch Trinitron that I can rotate easily. It's very easy to do, so it's one reason I have some extra CRTs like that in the smaller form factor. It's so I can do Tate whenever I feel like it. So, but yeah, Raiden 3. We are playing the US version of the game. I do have the American version now. Whereas the previous shmup quick plays I was using the Japanese versions, but this one did come out in North America. And as far as I'm aware, it's not particularly hard to find, and I don't think, as of doing this video, the price has really shot up that much, so it might still be relatively affordable. Don't quote me on that. I haven't checked in a while. Maybe at the end of this video, I'll double check just in case. So, but all right, let's go ahead and hit that start button, and we shall jump into this. We do have some options and stuff like that. There's a score attack mode, which is basically a mode where you just try to, you know, get a high score on a particular level. And so, yeah, not too particularly interesting. You will unlock a boss rush eventually. I don't think that's unlocked right now. I'm not sure what the requirements are for that. You might have to beat the game or something like that. Also, you've got a gallery mode. You do have autosave functionality, which I have activated, which is nice. And you got difficulty settings. We're gonna actually play on the normal difficulty mode. I found that in order to make any kind of progress at this game, I had to actually lower the difficulty. I always prefer playing these games on the arcade difficulties if possible, because if I ever run into this game in the arcade, I want to play on the difficulty setting that will be used in the arcade by default. And I actually have access to a Raiden 3 cabinet nearby, so I can, you know, I should probably be playing on arcade mode, but it's okay. That same cabinet actually has Raiden 4, and I'd rather play Raiden 4 than Raiden 3. I do think Raiden 4 is a, I enjoy Raiden 4 a lot more anyway. You can change things like bomb stock, you know, adjust your screen settings. Again, we have it in Tate right now. So that's the arcade A mode. So if we actually flip it around, there's our normal mode. And again, I'm going to have this actually rotated in software, so this screen should look rotated for you right now. But we're going to go ahead and do Tate. The reason the Tate is important is that it fills the entire vertical screen space of your TV. And so objects are much more crisp, and the, you know, the visuals are cleaner, so it's easier to pick apart bullets from the many fast-moving backgrounds in this game. There's one thing about Raiden 3, there's a lot of fast-moving backgrounds, and honestly, it takes a while to get used to. The original Raiden games had nothing like that, or at least Raiden 1 and 2 and DX. Now, Raiden Fighters did have some fast-moving stuff, like Raiden Fighters 2, I think, had a train stage, and it's just the trains could just fly by real quick. But this has tons of, like, fast flying sections, as you guys will see. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Wait for the memory card to do its thing, and we shall go to Game Start. Now, I just want to preface this video with, I suck at this game, okay? I'm terrible at it. We might not even make it past stage 3. It is a very, very challenging game, very memorization heavy, and you've got to really be on point, and you also have to know when to switch weapons. So, Raiden 3 has 3 different weapons you can use. It's got the standard red spread shot, like in classic Raiden. It's got the blue focused laser, and then it's got this sort of squiggly, wavy laser you can use. It's the green weapon. That was a new addition to this game. I'm going to stick with the red spread shot here, along with switching over to my blue focused laser for you know, pretty much the entirety of this playthrough. Now, unfortunately, this red spread shot, you don't have a lot of control over it. It's when you tap the button, it does its maximum amount of projectiles, and so you really just want to hold down the button in this game, unfortunately. I really like the added layer of nuance in Raiden 4 in terms of the red spread shot. But that is unfortunately missing here in Raiden 3, so you're really best off just holding down your button and just rolling with that. So, along with your primary firepower, red, blue, and green, you have 3 different missile types to pick from. So we actually selected the R, which I don't know what it stands for. I assume it's rockets. What's cool about the rockets here is they have a slight homing property. Now, there is the H power-up, which is actual homing missiles. Unfortunately, they fire really, really slow in the beginning, and so I find it's not really worth upgrading to them. They're also not that powerful. You do have the M, which is more of a focused missile type. Very, very powerful, but you're more likely to miss with it. So the R, or the rocket, was introduced in Raiden 3, and I really feel like the game was designed around it. Because it's got some good power, it's got some slight homing properties, and so I really feel like you're best off using the rocket. So we're going to go ahead and stick with that too. So we're actually coming up on a boss fight, so what I want to do is actually switch over to my blue laser, because it is way more powerful than my red shot. And we want to kill these bosses as fast as possible in this game. Raiden has always been about quick kills, quick killing bosses as fast as possible. Otherwise, they can be a real headache. Now, this first boss isn't too bad, especially if you're quick killing them. You know, you switch over to the blue laser, you've got a decent missile type, and, you know, you can annihilate them pretty quickly just like that. You basically want to try to get rid of them before they even have a chance to get started. Now, the Raiden series, one of its, you know, gimmicks is, you know, having you fight 2 bosses at once. It started off in the very first Raiden. You know, you fought 2 battleships there, and in Raiden 2, it's the same kind of thing. You fight 2 walkers on the first level, and in Raiden 3, you fight 2 of those guys on rails on the first level as well. So, you know, there are definitely some nods to classic Raiden in this game, but if you've never really played Raiden 3 or Raiden 4, hell, even Raiden 5, these are going to feel very foreign compared to the first few Raiden games. That was always one thing that really put me off of Raiden 3 growing up. But again, like I said, I've since come around to it. I do feel like Raiden 4 captures the spirit of classic Raiden a little bit more. There are more sections like this that are slower. The visuals are also a lot more detailed. The visuals are definitely improved quite a bit in Raiden 4. And that was always a big thing for Raiden. Raiden was never generic looking, even the first game, you know, in 1990. Very detailed backgrounds, lots of nice little animated touches. Like the first Raiden has dudes walking across bridges and has like cows in you know, in the fields and stuff like that. And Raiden 3, you don't really get any of that. It's very generic looking. So it's definitely the kind of game where you really have to focus on like the gameplay and have that sort of elevated. You know, the classic Raiden games, they were just beautiful to look at. And, you know, Raiden 2 in particular had like a fantastic soundtrack for the time. And, yeah, some of the music in this is kind of interesting too. I do like some of it, but it's definitely different from the classic games. And you got to get used to it. If you're an old school Raiden fan, it might take a little while for this one to start resonating with you. I know people that really love this game. Like, they say it's their favorite Raiden. With me, it'll always be the classic games. I absolutely love the classic Raiden games. Some of my all-time favorites. Alright, so we want to switch over to our blue laser here. We have a boss fight coming up. And so there we go. We can actually shoot his wings off. Now, something I haven't really explained about this game, and something that was introduced into Raiden 3, was a time-based scoring system. So, you get a multiplier based on how fast you actually kill your enemies. The faster you kill them, the higher the multiplier. Looks like it's up to 2 times. And so, we basically want to, you know, try to get rid of enemies as fast as possible if we want to score the most. I just used a bomb. What's nice about the bombs in this game is that they are instantaneous. So the second you press the button, your bomb activates, clears everything on screen. Raiden 2 in Raiden 1 subsequently, or previously, had a bomb that dropped onto the ground, kind of like a nuke. And it was like a second or two before it would actually blow up. So you were still vulnerable, you know, while the bomb was dropping. Now, Raiden 2 did kind of address that a little bit, and the player 2 side in Raiden 2 had a bomb that would come out. It was like a spread bomb, and it would come out instantaneously, so you could really use it as a safety net. Whereas the bomb that drops on the ground, you really couldn't use it as much of a safety net. You had to plan it out. So this one gets rid of the bomb drop completely. So another classic Raiden staple, just, you know, tossed out the window, and that's okay. But, yeah, the bombs are definitely very, very handy in this game, and that would carry over into Raiden 4 and then Raiden 5 as well. They all had the same type of instant use bomb. So you press the button, you're probably safe. So again, like I said, I'm going to just kind of stick it out with the spread shot here. I've never really gotten too comfortable with the green laser in this. I think I've heard people saying it's one of the better weapons. But it's never really felt that great to me in terms of like power. Especially if you die, your power gets reset completely. Now, I did pick up a fairy on that first level. And what the fairy does, for anybody new to Raiden, is when you die, the fairy will appear and drop some power-ups for you to make recovering a little bit easier. So again, when I get close to a boss fight here, I want to make sure I'm switching up. So this is level 3. Level 3 has traditionally been a water-themed level in the Raiden series. It's another common trait between most, if not all, of the games. There's an extra life there. I want to kind of save it. Oops, I did not want to do that. That was horrible. Oh, I just screwed myself big time. Alright, so I want to pick up as many blue lasers as I can. Okay, we got a few, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and use a bomb. And, okay, good. Woo! Sort of recovered. Thank you, Fairy. Thank you, Fairy. Now, because I'm not really all that well practiced at this game, I am going to be bombing more often than I would like to. Bombing actually does affect your scoring, because you do get multipliers at the end of a level. You get points calculated for bombs that you have not used, but it's okay. I'm just going to try to survive. Oh, jeez, I died again. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to red. And red again. And we'll go ahead and just grab the homing, just for now. So unfortunately, I only have 1 life left. I lost 2 lives on that level. But that's a real bummer. But hey, at least we made it past stage 3. Yay! A lot of times I don't even make it this far. Like I said, this is a hard game, and it seems like there's, I want to say, 7 stages in the game, according to the main menu. I've never beaten this game. I've never bothered to credit feed my way through the game. I always just do 1 credit. That's how I like to play shooters like this. I like to see how far I can get on 1 credit. Now, that does make learning, you know, subsequent levels a little more difficult. I probably would recommend people credit feed to get familiar with the stages if they want to try to get better at a game like this. But I just have the habit of just doing 1 credit at a time. One thing I like, you know, doing... One thing I like about just doing the 1 credit method is just kind of seeing my progression in scoring over the course of my runs. So, it is kind of fun. And one nice thing about a lot of the shooters from this time period is that, you know, developers finally started using autosave functionality on their PS2 games. Some early PS2 games would not do autosave for some reason. It's like, come on, man, we're in the PS2 era. It's, you know, at the time it was super next-gen stuff, and they still, a lot of times, would not allow autosave. Like, you'd have to go in and still manually save your game. It's like, dude, that is so, like, early 1990s. So, but thankfully, a lot of these shooters we've covered do have autosave functionality, which is awesome. Alright, so I think I'm gonna actually switch over to the laser. I want to say, like, yeah, this is like a little mini boss fight. Let's try to take him out a little bit faster. Spread shot's not quite as good for him because it's not really like a huge object. The hitbox is like in the middle. Okay, and then we'll try to switch back to the red whenever we can. Now you also get points at the end of the levels for these gold items you can pick up. They're not really medals in this. In classic Raiden, they were medals, but they're like these little gold orbs. I'm not really even sure what to call them. I guess I'll just call them gold orbs, because that's exactly what they look like. Now, I'm pretty sure this game has a form of rank, and that's basically a form of difficulty level, adjustable difficulty level on the fly. A lot of times, games will have a specific type of rank. Some games, it's, you know, depending on how many power-ups you have, you know, the rank will increase. Basically, the difficulty will increase. It'll adjust automatically on the fly. So you'll notice bullets starting to get faster. I told you that the homing's not really that great, but I'm just gonna try it anyway, because I've never really messed around with it to this point. Alright, another laser power-up. It's very good. Kind of cheaping out with the bomb. Oh, why did I do that? Now, one thing I hate about the power-up drops when you die, it's like, oh, here's 3 different weapon types. So, like, you're not very likely to actually get all your weapon power back, and that makes this a lot more challenging than you would like. Man, see, this is what I get for not practicing this. I don't know these patterns at all. Like I said, this game is very memorization heavy, especially on boss fights. Raiden 4 is the exact same way. I mean, I guess the classic Raidens are very similar in that regard, but I do find that the bosses in classic Raiden are definitely paced differently. Like, a lot of times, they're not as chaotic as the bosses are in this game, or at least their bullets don't fly down at you at light speed like they do in this game. So... Sniper Central, just like I said, man, it's crazy. Now, I really wanted to switch over to my red shot, but these enemies are just not having it right now. Like, look at these kamikazes coming down from the sides. It's just very difficult to deal with. Like I said, this is just a really tough game. Very, very tough game. You know, I'd rather have my spread shot right now, but we'll just live with it. So I actually haven't hit my highest score yet, which tells me that on previous runs where I've gotten a high score, I must have just done better on previous levels. Like, when you die, you end up losing your medals and stuff like that. And so they don't calculate down as end-of-level bonus. So I don't even think I've made it this far before. So technically, like on 1 credit at least. So technically, we made it pretty far. That was actually pretty good, all things considered. Let's go ahead and just get rid of this and go back to the main screen. No, not too bad. It is definitely a game I'd like to eventually be able to finish, but as you can see, it can be kind of tough. It can be kind of intense. And you know what? That level might have been a little bit easier if I was actually able to switch over to my red weapon. Because... Oh, and it looks like my best attempt, too, was actually, on arcade mode. Okay. Did not know that. So, and I forgot to type in my initials. But you can see I played the game a little bit. Like, you see AKM, AKM, AKM. Those are my initials. So, you know, I've played the game a decent amount. I haven't really binged it much, though, in about a year now. So, most of those scores there were probably from a year ago when I was playing on my CRT and Tate basically rotating my CRT. So... But yeah, that's Raiden 3, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know I have a couple of Raiden fans out there. Anybody that has played this before, feel free to share your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. If you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. If you like this sort of content, I got a lot of videos like this on the channel. If everyone already subbed, as always, thanks for your continued support. And I guess until the next one, guys, take it easy.